got an absolute cracker going out today and a few big bundles as well. Anyway, haven't introduced myself in a wee while, so my name's Ian and I sell books on eBay. I'm going to talk about something else whilst I'm doing this as well today. I had a couple of questions and a few really nice comments, so thank you very much for that, peeps that left them. But one of the questions was about the tax announcements that have come out in the last couple of days, few days, I don't know, recently, about how HMRC are going to start getting information from eBay and other platforms about sellers so they can make sure everybody's paying the tax they should. Because, you know, somebody who makes a couple of £1,000 a year from selling second-hand stuff on eBay is definitely much more worthwhile for HMRC to focus their resources on to get back those few pounds that have been missed out, rather than hunting down the guys that are making millions and use every loophole possible not to pay anything. But that aside, I'm going to talk about that a wee bit. But I am no expert. This is no kind of tax advice, it's not financial advice, it's nothing like that. It's a wee bit about what I do and what I would do moving forward if I was in a different position, starting again, whatever it might be. But anyway, a couple of sales first. First up, one little paperback, not a banger. Peter Hoag's Miss Smila's Feeling for Snow. Turned out into a movie a good few years ago, but this one went for £6.84. Got a few different copies of that, different variations. I think that's probably the first one that's sold in like 6 months. So, there's something. Anyway, let's get the banger out of the way because it's up next on the list. And then we can talk about tax, baby. Yeah. Mentioned this one a few times in the past. Stephen King's The Bachman books that includes Rage. Rage, The Long Walk, Roadwork, The Running Man. So this is the first edition paperback. It is not in great condition, but all of that was fully disclosed in the listing. A wee bit of yellowing on the pages, but it's intact. All the pages are there. The cover's okay. Spine's a bit cracked. $48.99. So if you see any copy of the Bachman books, especially if it includes Rage, pick it up. You will get money for it. If it's a first edition, all the better. But $48.99, that's been listed for maybe 3 weeks. So really, really good sale on that one. And definitely be on the lookout for. Right. We've got some classics coming up next. But yeah, so the government have said they are going to hunt you down through eBay or Etsy, any app that you're selling stuff on, regardless of what you're doing. And if your turnover is more than £1,000, or you make more than £1,000, then you're expected to pay tax on it. That part of the rule isn't new, and nor is as soon as you go out and buy something with the intention to sell it on for a profit, regardless of what kind of threshold you're making, you should get registered as a business and make sure that you're declaring that as tax so that nobody can trip you up down the way. Because even if you're under that £1,000 threshold, if there's a suspicion that you are buying stuff to sell, you may have to do a full return anyway just to prove that you don't meet that threshold. So not meeting the threshold doesn't mean that you're exempt from submitting a return necessarily, so be careful about that one. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Hunter S. Thompson. What did that sell for? £6.49, so £2.50 plus postage. Not a big sale, but really nice condition. Old, bit of a classic, that one. Yeah, went out the door, always pick them up when I see them. Oh, we've got a wee bundle next. So, if you buy stuff, so you're into charity shops, onto auction houses, whatever it is, with the intention of selling that for a profit, get set up as a business. That's what I did, that's what I would do again, regardless of the scale or volume. If it's a side hustle, you know, you've got a job, you're getting a paycheck in every week, every month, whatever it might be, you know, you're paying your tax, you're paying your national insurance, you're contributing to your pension. As soon as you become self-employed as well, you're going to have to do a return that will include your PAYE at the end of the year, and then they will come back and work out, well, okay, you got this from your job, you got this from your secondary income, your side hustle, therefore the tax you owe for the year is whatever that might be. So even if you've only made a couple of £1,000 extra on your side hustle, they take the full lot into account and rework out your tax. Now, in the past, I got stung by that. I'll tell you why in a second, but I'm going to show you this bundle first. M.J. Arledge and one other book. So John Lennon letters, Hunter Davies, and then M.J. Arledge, which kind of thrillery things. You see them? Truth or Dare, All Fall Down, Cat and Mouse. It's a bit of a theme with the titles there. But those 5 went for £12.14. Arledge, I've picked them up a few times. I've got a wee stack, and they do sell, but just not particularly quickly. So how did I get stung by the taxman? Well, I used to work for the Ministry of Justice, government department. So you would expect they get these things right. But I then had a second income. So I had to declare that to the taxman. So through as self-employed, they took all of my tax information for the year, what I'd made on the secondary income, as well as what I'd earned on my normal income. And they fined me. So my tax allowance allocation, whatever it was I was to pay every month, was something and 50 pence. But Ministry of Justice, as I've been told by HMRC, like most government departments, rounded down that 50p. So for example, if it was £100 and 50 pence, they only pay £100. So every month I was underpaying my tax by 50p, half a pound. At the end of the year, HMRC get that information along with my others, and I've just, sent off the pay slips, disclosed everything because I expect that to be accurate, and I got fined 50 quid for underpaying my tax throughout the year. Not Ministry of Justice getting fined 50 quid for doing that, but me, because they've underpaid me 50 pence a month for 12 months. So 6 quid. And I get fined £50 for it. So that's one to be slightly aware of. And they don't just do that with me. They were doing that with everybody. So instead of sorting that out and getting all those pounds back from the Ministry of Justice or the Home Office or wherever it might be, they're coming after resellers who make more than £1,000. They may have fixed it since this was a few years ago, but I very much doubt it. Anyway, next bundle. Bit of fantasy. We've got Anne McCaffrey. Then just to change it up a bit, David Eddings. And David Eddings. So, that wee fantasy bundle of 5 books went for £13.74. Both are authors that if I see them in good nick, I will pick them up every time as long as I have space. That's always my big rule. Do I have space? Because if you don't have space, then you'll end up just having stacks of stuff that you cannot organise, you cannot work through or do anything with. Another 2 books, and then something else I want to say about the tax and how to set up your business thing. 2 Agatha Christie's. We've got Sad Cypress and 5 Little Pigs, both in as new condition, part of the big lot that I picked up just before Christmas, and the 2 of them went together for £12.58. The new listings that I've got, I don't charge postage on them. I just list them for like £6.99 or £5.99, £7.99, a new price, free post. So if people do want 2 of them, I'm a winner. And in this case, £12.58 for 2 paperbacks. That's a good sale. So if you're relatively new to this, or you have been selling just on the side for a little while, and now you're getting a wee bit nervous about the government hunting you down and you want to make sure you're doing it right, what I did this time around, and what I would do if I was doing it again, is don't be self-employed, because that just becomes a complete royal pain in the ass when it comes to the end of the year and sorting out your personal taxes. So what I do is I have set up a limited company, and instead of me just at the end of every month going, right, what's coming and what's going out, what's the profit, well, that's how much I've made, I just get paid a salary by that limited company. So when I'm talking about, profit made, in any particular day from all of this, that's what the company has made. That's not what I've made, that's what the company has made. It just so happens I'm the only employee of the company at the moment, but that's what the company's made. And then at the end of the month, I get a salary paid from that. So that goes through as a PAYE, and all your tax and everything is taken into account there, because that gets measured. If you've got a primary income and then that secondary income, it all gets looked at on a monthly basis. So at the end of the year, you're not having to work out your personal tax situation. So that's where I am, and it's what I would do if I was doing it again, regardless of how much or how little that secondary income was going to be. I would set it up that way. Probably a good way to do it, if it is a side hustle, is run the business for a few months and let the profit accumulate within the business bank account. Don't touch it. You can work out from that how much it is you're needing to reinvest on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to scale to whatever size you want. And also it'll give you a good clear idea of what the actual income is for the business on a weekly, monthly basis if you do that for a few months. And then at that point, you will know that every month there will be a minimum of £100, £200, £1,000, £2,000, whatever it is that's cycling through the business that's available for you as a salary, and set that up as your salary. So from that point on, then you get paid a salary by that business month in, month out, and it keeps the churn of the business going quite nicely. May not result in an awful lot of money, but the other side of it is, at the end of the year, if there's any profit sitting within that, and you'll have to get your accounts done obviously for that business, but it's not overly complicated, then any profit that's left over is available to the shareholders of the company, which will be you by yourself, and then you pay corporation tax on those additional profits above and beyond that, or you make sure that everything gets reinvested before the end of the year, so the profits are zero, but you've had your salary paid throughout the year. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, another bundle. We've got, where is it? Yes, we've got some Jeffrey Archer. One little hardcover and 4 little paperbacks. I think I've sold a few Jeffrey Archers lately. You'll be recognising the name. Speaking of politicians and tax and all the rest of it, I'm sure he doesn't pay all his tax. He'll know how to dodge it. £13.54 for those 5 Jeffrey Archer books. The other advantage of registering as a business is VAT. And that doesn't matter if you're going in as a sole trader or as a limited company, or whatever it might be. You can still register to pay VAT. Why would you want to pay even more tax? Tell you in a second. 10 Disney DVDs. These bundles have been going well all over the festive period, and that hasn't stopped. £12.99 for 10 DVDs that would have cost me £1 to pick up. So Disney DVDs, they're great. You get them cheap. Just stack them up. Anyway, VAT, £12.99. I have to pay VAT back to the government on that. I didn't pay any VAT when I bought them because they'll have come out of a charity shop. So I've got no VAT to come back to me from that point. But it's going to cost me £4 to post them. And it's cost me probably, let's just say £3 in fees for the sake of rounding it up at the moment. So of that £12.99, I've paid VAT already on £7 of it. So if my VAT liability for that £12.99 is £3, then half of that I've already paid. So my VAT liability is actually only about £1.50. That's not an exact number by any stretch. I'm just doing very bad arithmetic in my head as I go along here. So my VAT liability on those 10 DVDs to pay back to the government at the end of the quarter is going to be £1.50. So I've got to take that out of the potential profits that come from that. However, if we go to the Stephen King book that we sold, $48.99. Now again, when I bought that, I didn't pay any VAT because it came out of the charity shop, so I've got no VAT to come back with that end. But it's a book, so I don't have to pay VAT at all. Books are VAT exempt, which means that I've already made X profit in selling that book, but the £4 that I'll spend on packaging and posting it, I will also get 80p back in VAT at the end of the quarter. So when it's a £40 sale, that 80p ain't much, but when it's a £3 sale, that 80p is a lot, and it considerably adds up. And that 80p that I'll get back for that one order, and the 80p that I'll get back for, say, Miss Smeela, has covered the VAT due for all 10 of those DVDs. So if you're buying and selling books, then it is well worth being VAT registered, because you can claim the VAT back on everything that you spend VAT on, your eBay fees, postage, packaging supplies, if you're running expenses for the fuel it takes to go and pick stuff up or go to the post office or whatever it might be, all of these things you can claim the VAT back on those. I just set it up through QuickBooks. It's great. And if your business is like 90+% books, every quarter the tax man is going to be sending you money rather than you sending them money. It's not going to be an awful lot, but every penny counts, and it's nice to get something back from them once in a while. So if you are a bookseller, make sure you're VAT registered. The threshold for being VAT registered, where you have to be VAT registered, I think it's about £86,000 in turnover at the moment. So a lot of people won't be going anywhere near that, but it doesn't matter, you can still get registered and take advantage of the benefits of being VAT registered at the same time. If you're not primarily selling books and you're trying to make any kind of reasonable income out of this, everyone's going to have different profit margins depending on what they're doing, but if your profit margins are, say, 50%, which is way higher than what I get out of this, I'm doing about 30% if I'm lucky, but if your profit margins are 50%, then that means if you're not VAT registered, the most money you can make is about £40,000 a year, which is a side hustle, smashing. But if you're looking to have a good income out of this, that's a pretty low cap, let's be honest. Once you're VAT registered, you can sell as much as you like, but you have to pay the VAT. And that's always a catch, isn't it? So it's really, if you're wanting to scale this and get a proper income out of reselling, you need to think really carefully at the outset about how much you can sell stuff for. If everything that you sell, you're having to give another 20% off to HMRC to balance the books on that side. So it's one to think on. But if you're selling books, to me, it's a no-brainer. Do it that way. Anyway, what else is sold? Token. Not token. 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 Not token. Token. Lord of the Rings, complete. Nice paperback copy. Again, really good condition. And that sold for £8.24. So that'll do nicely. We also have Chaos by James Gleick. I don't know. Something to do with science. An awe-inspiring book. Reading Chaos gave me the sensation that someone had just found a light switch, said Douglas Adams, which means it's not a new book. He died a good few years ago, didn't he? Chaos by James Gleick, £6.84. And then finally, a bundle of Bernard Cornwell. So one of these went out the other day, and I was saying then, I haven't sold these for ages, but then they always suddenly go out a few at a time. And right enough, the next day or the day after the day, another bundle of 5 Bernard Cornwell books, with the exception of Rebel. They are all Sharp books. So we've got Sharp's Eagle, Escape, Fury and Havoc. One of them's a first edition hardcover, which means that they went for a slightly better price of £19.32 for the 5 of those. So that's everything that's gone out today. Not huge sales. Got about 150 quid in there, so a third to eBay, a third in postage, a third in profit. That's approximately what will come out of that. And then obviously the cost of the books, etc., is all tapped out of the profit as well, although I don't work it that way when I'm working out prices. It's like I'll spend so much a week, and that's irrelevant of what has sold each week. I've just got a kind of budget that I use for that, which at the moment is 0, because it's the start of the month when you've got to pay the rent and all the other bills. So until they're all paid, I buy no more stock. I've taken my wages out, and the business just stays smooth and everything piles into that until the business balance gets back to 0. That kind of doesn't really make sense, but I know what I mean. So anyway, that's everything for today. A couple of absolute bangers, like Stephen King, that's a cracker. Some nice wee bundles. Yeah. Anyway, that's all we're talking about today. I hope that conversation has been helpful in some way to some of you. But the real thing is, don't worry about the tax situation. Just deal with it. Simples. Anyway, love you. See ya. Bye.